Brent here with Bring Your Own Tools. On today's episode, if you want to learn how we completely transformed this wall with rustic wall paneling in one day without the use of any nails or glue, just electromagnetic current, we'll keep on watching. Let's get started. Now from the get-go, I want to say a huge and special thank you to Centennial Woods, which specialize in reclaimed wood for exterior and interior use. Now, I met them at the IBS trade show. No, it doesn't stand for Irritable Bowel Syndrome, it stands for International Builder Show. And I loved their products so much that I wanted to feature them on my channel. So they sent me some amazing, beautiful product that I will be installing today. Now, to give you a little bit more background about them, they are an amazing company out of Wyoming that has all the certificates you could possibly ask for, whether it's LEED, FSC, NWFA, or Green Guard certified. They're all there. And those are big deals, especially if you're in construction or if you're a homeowner that just cares about the environment. Plus, I want to let everyone know, if you are interested in actually purchasing material from them, then check out the link below and you get 10% off by using the promo code BYOT10. Now let's get to the real reason why this company stood out so much to me, and it's because of their amazing new technology, which is this EMC machine, which also stands for Electro Magnetic Current. Now this is the handheld device where you actually press down right there, and it actually sends a magnetic pulse through the wood into a metallic tape. Now, this device is pretty simplistic because all you have is a timer right here and you press it by changing the amount of pulse time that you want with the EMC machine. You turn it on, you set the time, you press the red button, boom, it starts searing. Pretty simplistic, right? Now, the metallic tape that I was referring to is this tape. Now, this tape has a plastic film on the backside that you just peel off and adhere to the wood. Now, it's very easy to cut, and as you can see, it's a very thin product that you really wouldn't think it would have much adhering purposes, but guess what? You apply this backside, you use the EMC machine, and it is on there like white on rice. That's still a thing, right? Yeah. Now, it really is that simple, but just, keep in consideration the fact that you're going to be applying hundreds of boards, so therefore you'll be applying hundreds, if not thousands, pieces of tape. So, just note to self on that. Now, if you go to their website, you will have plenty of options to choose from, but on our project, we are using Sundance White, and it's a beautiful whitewash wall, which I think really complements this entire wall space because this wall space desperately needs something. It's such a big wall, and there's no real character in it, so let's give it some character. Now, prior to installing, you want to account for the layout. Now, I take my laser measure and measure from the top of the wall boards to the top of the ceiling. Now, you can obviously use a tape measure for this, but a laser measure definitely makes it easier. I'm doing this because I want a consistent pattern and I want the board at the bottom to be generally the same width as the board at the top. You do this by taking the total measurement and then dividing it by the board width, and then whatever you have remaining, you divide between the two at the top and bottom. That will give you the difference. Now, after I have that figured out, I then take my laser level and position it to the exact height that I have my mark. Now, you don't have to use a laser level, especially if you don't have one. You can always use a generic level and mark the height all the way down, but this, with the laser level, it makes life just that much easier. Now, once you have the height of your first board, then you can reposition your table saw and rip the board to the correct width. Now, I check my height for every single piece that I cut for the first row because the baseboard can fluctuate in height, and then proceed to changing the overall measurement. And the first row is the most important because you want to make sure that that row is perfectly level all the way across. Now, once you're ready, go ahead and place the tape in a position and go ahead and adhere it to the wall. Now, the nice thing about the tape is that it has such a strong hold, you really don't need to place it more than 2 to 3 positions. Now, the boards come in 1, 2, 3, and 4 foot lengths, and the boards that need 3 pieces are really only the 3 and 4 foot lengths. Now, after applying a few hundred pieces of tape, I figured out that the best way of actually adhering the tape to the board was really setting the timer for 6 seconds, adhering the tape to the wall, and then apply pressure to the surface for at least a couple seconds. That way, the tape really adheres properly to the surface. Now, the project really does go much smoother if you have a perfectly level board from the very beginning, so make sure you take your due diligence with that first row. Now you want to back out your electrical outlets and allow the board to fit behind the outlet switch. If you don't do this, then your outlets are just going to look funky and it's not going to fit properly. Now the nice thing about these boards is that they're only a 1/4 inch thick, so you're easily able to adjust all the outlets easily and consistently all the way across. Now there's obviously a number of different ways you can cut the holes for the outlets, but I found the easiest way was to use my multi-tool, make a couple marks noting where the outlet is, and just cut out the holes from there. Now with most new technology there's always benefits and disadvantages, but the huge benefit for this type of fastening system is one, the fact that you do not have to worry at all where the studs are. Now that is huge and really a big deal because through this entire process I didn't have to worry about at any point where the studs are, and that really saves me time and energy and frustration along the way, especially with the fact that you have a lot of random sized boards and therefore trying to find a location for every single piece, especially trying to find a stud for it, would become very difficult and time consuming along the way. Now the other huge advantage for this type of system is the fact that you do not have to worry about any type of nail holes through this entire process. Now with rustic wood paneling you might not mind nail holes, but personally I don't like nail holes and I don't like having to fill nail holes afterwards. So therefore with this system you don't have to worry about that all, and it also saves you some time and energy. Now as for the disadvantage for this type of system, there really aren't many, but the one thing I would generally note is making sure you have good quality ventilation through this entire process, especially if it's on a large wall, because with the tape it is searing the back side of the board, and therefore there might be a bit of a plume of smoke every single time you use it, and after a few hundred pieces it tends to be a bit of a strong smell, which is why I'm now wearing a respirator, and it just helps a bit. Also, just as a reminder, this video is in fast forward motion, and just because this video is approximately 10 minutes long, it doesn't mean that it only took me 10 minutes to do. Yeah, real obvious note there, Brent. But after you factor in the fact that you don't have to worry about any studs or nail holes, it really is a very comparable system as far as time and energy, so you have to factor all those items into play. Now other than the first row, this row in particular is one of the most important rows to get right, because after I notch out over the top of the door, you want to make sure that board is perfectly level and bring that all the way across. Then I work my way down after that. Now this is because if you do both sides from the bottom up, potentially might not have boards that line perfectly up, and therefore I wanted to guarantee myself that that would not happen, which is why I worked my way from the top down after that. Now the other really nice thing about this entire paneling system is that I really didn't have to cut much. The ends are the only ones that I had to cut off at a certain dimension, and therefore the waste amount for this entire project I could literally fit into a 5-gallon bucket. That's pretty impressive. Now the other huge factor that I want to note is the fact that with this tape it is reversible, so if you do for any reason want to remove the paneling at any point, or potentially you're moving and you want to take it with you, then with the machine you're able to reheat the magnetic tape and remove the paneling easily. Now yes, I know that I didn't want to use any type of glue or nails in this entire project, but this last row came out a bit short due to user error. I measured it out originally because I wanted the top row to be the same height as the bottom row, but because the boards, even if they say 5 inches, you potentially might have 1/32 or even a 1/16 of an inch on every single row, and if you times that by 24 rows, well guess what? You have a 2-inch piece at the top and a 4-inch piece at the bottom, so just keep that in mind on your project. But guess what? After you're finished with your top row and reinstall all of your plate covers, you are done. Now who doesn't love a good before and after shot, and this is one amazing transformation from top to bottom, and it only took a day to do. So can you imagine how this can completely transform your room? Because I mean, look at the beautiful aspect of the rusticness as well as the quality of the wood, and it really brings a warmth and an amazing element to a room that is a nice room, but nothing stands out until you put something like this on a accent wall. And that's what I call one beautiful, sexy beast. Oh yeah. And there you have it, episode number 63 of BYOT fully completed. And I want to say a special, huge thank you to Centennial Woods for providing the material for this project, because as you can see, it turned out amazing and quite the transformation. In any case, thank you for your time. Please like the video, please subscribe to this channel, and please check out my Instagram feed and my newly developed website at BYOTools.me. You can learn how to support the channel from there. In any case, in your time, catch you next time.
Bella! Bella! Even the dog likes it. Right, Will? Bella, you stop it. Okay, come on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.